a slide dime, aged like fine wine. Pretty toes paid by a rollie that don't whine. Yeah, it's going down. Time to show who's boss. And them quarter pieces got the perfect gloss. Charcoal and lighters, gas grills and fires.
Hello everyone. DeNard Kendricks is an artist from Fort Worth, Texas. He blends slower production styles from the South with modern lyrical styles. He also frequently shares live stream clips and tweets giving motivational and life advice on his Instagram. You can check out his 2021 project, The Cookout, on all platforms now. How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Thank you for having me.
For sure. I'm really happy to have you here. You've spoken on the fact that you grew up listening to jazz, funk, soul, hip-hop, and R&B. Could you explain some of that process and how those artists influenced you?
I mean, jazz is really, it battles for like the first love of music that I have along with hip hop, because as a child, you know, my dad, he played a lot of Kenny G in the house. He would play a lot of Boney James and a host of other jazz musicians. And he would also allow me to listen to like the old school funk groups like Parliament and the Commodores, Earth, Wind and Fire, you know, the classic groups. And he would also let me know that a lot of the hip hop music that I was listening to at that time, that they sampled music from those guys. So it was a way of like really bridging the gap. Tupac sampled these guys, or Biggie sampled these guys, stuff like that. But jazz is really a way for me to really just clear my head and really get into my own thoughts, because all it is just the instrumental.
So what do you think it is in particular about jazz that caught your attention in relation to all those other genres?
The way it made me feel. When you're a child, you know, you bouncing all off the walls, you know, you running here, running there, you listening to the music that's on the radio, you watching MTV and BET and all that stuff. But jazz was just really helped me center myself. Like I can just sit down and do my homework, no problem. I can just sit there and just really just think about whatever is on my mind at that time. So jazz really made me feel like a sense of peace.
Cool. Your EP, The Cookout, was one of my favorite projects of the year. It's laid back and has incredible technique, blending classic and modern styles. Could you explain your vision behind the creation of the album?
With The Cookout, me and the producer, Junebug, we wanted to create kind of like, you know, we wanted to paint a picture of a cookout with the opening track, Charcoal and Lighters. Yeah, he said, I want you to tell a story through the eyes of the grill. And I was like, how the hell am I supposed to do that? And he said, just figure it out. But that's the direction I want you to go. And thankfully it came out the way that it did. I was really surprised by it. So that is my favorite song off that project.
Mine too.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it, man.
So considering that it was my favorite song on the album itself, I thought it created really beautiful portraits of people's personalities at the barbecue. Why did you decide to share those particular stories?
I mean, because without those stories, like those individual stories, those personalities, those are what really make the cookouts memorable more than the food. You know, it's like, of course, you know, you go to get some barbecue and all the other things that you like to eat, but what you really walk away with is, man, did you see what Aunt so-and-so had on? She was looking crazy as hell with that hairstyle. Or did you see Uncle so-and-so over there still thinking he can get any woman that he wants? So it's just those little things. Those are what make the cookouts memorable.
That's really beautiful. Is there a particular favorite portrait you have from that song, whether it be based off of someone you know or something you've heard about?
I would have to say as a child, we would go over to my grandparents' house in Dallas, and all my cousins there, all the aunts and uncles and family members I had never seen before. And, you know, some of the neighborhood kids just coming over by the house, and we're just being children, and all the while picking up on certain things like, why is Uncle so-and-so looking like that? Has he had too much to drink?
Mm-hmm.
Or, you know, seeing some of the neighborhood kids get a spanking or something like that by somebody at the cookout because they were being unruly. So it's just just those little things, man. They just, like I say, more than the food, it's just a lot of the little intricacies that really make them memorable.
That's a really beautiful process. And I really think that's one of my favorite things about revisiting it over time, seeing those little portraits and little sort of subtleties come back up. You frequently go live and share your thoughts on a wide variety of subjects, including controlling finances, finding motivation, and appreciating life around you. What is the most important piece of advice you can ultimately share?
The best piece of advice I could possibly give anyone is try not to take life so serious. Like, be serious, but don't try to be overly serious to the point to where you miss out on a lot of the small, beautiful, fleeting moments in life. You know, really just try your best to live in the moment, because, you know, they say tomorrow's not promised. Well, the next 5 seconds isn't promised either. So you just really have to live your life the best way you can, moment to moment.
That's really important.
Yeah.
Related to that, you made an interesting point about a month ago that people your age often look foolish because they follow the examples of younger rappers. Do you feel that you can continue to be successful even beyond rap's prime, in a sense?
Oh, most definitely. A prime example of that is Currency. He's a MC out of New Orleans. You know, I think he's either 40 or 41, but, you know, he's transcended all the limitations that they've tried to put on him. And he's transcended and pushed himself even further creatively, even as a businessman. So following that model, it all comes down to really just being true to who you are. So if you're not true to who you are and you're just trying your best to be famous or popping or whatever, you're gonna look stupid. And, you know, people, especially nowadays, people can really see it, and they are even more quick to call you out on it.
What part of that being truthful to yourself do you think is that most critical piece to continuing to be successful?
Telling your story, you know, not being afraid to say how you feel, how you think. You know, being authentic is a real big thing in life, especially when you're dealing with music, because when you're dealing with music, you have so many characters. And these characters, we're all trying to get you to buy into who we try to portray ourselves to be. But the ones that really create a lasting impact are the ones that are just unapologetically themselves, no matter what is going on.
You've spoken to the idea that your goal is to create forever. Why is creativity so important to you?
Creativity is so important to me because that is the life force of who I am. I always have to be creating something, whether it's music or creating an idea for a piece of content, or what piece of motivation can I give out today? What am I thinking? What am I feeling? So it's like I'm always in a creative mood because that's what drives me. So when I say create forever, is not I don't necessarily mean that, creating forever. Like forever, when I say create forever, I mean it's a state of mind. It's a state of being. So it's like, even when I'm gone, everything that I created is still gonna last. Everything that you've created is gonna last. So it's like we're creating forever.
That's a really beautiful perspective to take. I think it's one that people frequently overlook in a sense, that idea of leaving that legacy and that sort of like flash in the pan type of fame that you talked about with younger artists frequently.
Mm-hmm.
You've spoken a lot too on the idea of mental health. Could you share some of your experiences and struggles within that realm?
Yeah, man. Well, most definitely. Without, diving in too much, I have had traumatic experiences in life that have shaped the way that I think, the way that I handle certain situations. And sometimes the way that I handle certain situations, it necessarily doesn't work out to the betterment of me. So when we're dealing with mental health, I have to put my pride aside, and I have to, first of all, admit that, hey, there is an issue, and I want to correct this issue before it gets out of hand in the future. So really trying to unpack a lot of the issues that I've experienced in life and trying to adopt a new way of handling new challenges with a new state of mind.
What do you think has been that most important process of becoming more mentally fulfilled? And is there a piece of advice that you would give to other people who might be struggling with the same types of issues?
When you talk about being mentally fulfilled, I believe that you really have to get to know who you are. What do you like? What do you don't like? Don't force yourself to do something that's not going to bring you satisfaction. As long as it's a legal sense and nobody's getting hurt, do things that are going to bring you joy, no matter what it is, no matter how lame it might seem to the next person. If you like Dragon Ball Z, if Dragon Ball Z brings you joy, watch the shit out of it. You know what I mean? So just really get to know who you are and do the things that you like to do. That would be a good start. And then over time, you start to attract and meet people that like to do some of the same things, or, they may turn you on to something else that you may have not thought about doing. Like, I might try that. That sounds like it might be pretty cool. So you have to keep an open mind as well while you're doing your thing.
Is there any particular media that you really enjoy outside of music?
Oh man. If I'm not doing music, I'm a big time movie buck. Horror movies specifically. Mm-hmm. I will watch every last Friday the 13th movie. I'll watch all the Freddy's. I'll watch all the Michael Myers movies, and that's just my thing. Now I'm really into the old school horror movies.
One of your previous projects is called Child's Play. And was there a real particular reason that you decided to link that world of both music and your love of movies together?
Yeah, it was, Chucky has always been one of my favorites. Mm-hmm. And that particular project, I just felt like at that moment that this is so easy for me to do. Like, I can just rattle off any type of rap, any type of style. It's like breathing. It's child's play at that point. So it's like, I'm just gonna have fun with it. While you guys over here trying to be super serious and all that, okay, that's cool. But I'm gonna show you how to really have childlike fun with it.
Why do you think maintaining that element of childlike fun is so important?
Because it keeps you from being bored. Mm-hmm. Like, if you it's like playing video games. Like, if you really truly like playing video games, you'll never get tired of it because it's genuinely fun. So like with music, it's genuinely fun for me. It's a gift that I have. And if I'm not operating in that gift, I get frustrated. I'm unfulfilled. I'm not satisfied. So it's like, I have to stay in that. I have to use that. So that's where, like what you just said, the childlikeness, it just really comes to life when I'm doing that. And I just don't want it to end. Once it's time to play, I want to play and I don't want to stop.
So what can we expect from you in the future of your career, especially considering that you've had this album that's been upcoming sometime within the next few months?
Well, right now, I'm just taking a little break, just trying to recalibrate and recenter myself to make sure I'm at my best to deliver the music that I want to deliver and want people to enjoy. Because if I'm not in the right space to do so, you're going to notice that. It's like, his stuff doesn't sound like it did with these other projects. Like something's a little off. So in the future, just continue to look forward to just real laid back, chill vibes, more stories. And, I'm looking to start working with different producers as well, because, you just don't want to get locked in to one sound. I want to create a whole palette for different types of people, different vibes.
You've talked about the idea of sharing in the experience of different types of music and different types of genres. Is there a particular genre that you might like to try out in the future?
Particular genre? Not really, but I would like to experiment with all of them. Not necessarily say, I want to do like a rock and roll project or anything like that. Like, would I like to do something with rock and roll elements? Of course. Would I like to do something that has like, I don't know if you're familiar with this type of music, but there's this type of music called Celtic music. Yep. And it's like, I would like to, I want to try my hand at something like that. So it's like, I'm open to try anything. You never know where I'm going to go with my music. And that's like, I pick up that from studying Outkast, because with Outkast, you just never knew where they were going to go next. You just never knew. You just had to strap up and just be along for the ride.
And you've cited Outkast as being a really large influence on your music. Are there some other ways they've influenced you in particular?
Yes. The primary way is just being myself, not being afraid of who you are. You don't have to fit into somebody else's mold. You create your own mold. You do your own thing and you put it out there and you make people respect it. If they don't like it, okay, cool. You don't change up. You still keep doing your thing.
So is there anyone you'd like to take this opportunity to shout out, whether it be family, friends, or other artists?
Yeah, most definitely. I want to give a shout out to my family, my two daughters, my producer Junebug, my graphic artist Kuda Brown, all of the artists in Dallas, Fort Worth. Man, I hope I'm not forgetting anybody, but if I do, oh well. Dunlap Films, Justin Livingston, he's another videographer, does really dope work. Pretty much it, man. And of course, shout out to all the artists that inspire me and keep motivating me to keep doing what I'm doing.
So where can the listeners find you right now?
The listeners can find me on all major DSPs, Apple, Spotify, stuff like that. But if you really want to follow me and, try to get you a dose of motivation, you can tap in with me on Instagram at rich.before.rap. Same thing on TikTok, same name. On Twitter as at Funky Town Myth. Twitter, sometimes I'm a little bit more relaxed. I'm a little bit more loose on Twitter. Like I'll I'll just say something random. I'll just have a random thought. Like, I feel like this needs to be shared. So I'll just go ahead and tweet it. So yeah, man, it's follow me, tap in, and just, as much as I'm extending the invitation to motivate people, I'm also looking to be motivated too. I have an open mind about everything. So I'm a student of life. So I don't believe that there's only one right way to do something.
Mm-hmm.
You can teach me something that I may have never even thought about. And it's like, no, I'm gonna try it that way.
That's great. Thank you for doing the interview and have a great day.
All right, man. Thanks a lot, man. Take care of yourself.